Okay, this video is about fluoride and whether or not it's an immunosuppressant. Here's the paper. It's called Progress in the Research on the Role of Fluoride in Immune Damage. It's from the journal Frontiers in Immunology, May 2024. And here's what's kind of funny about it. First of all, the author's name is Wee Wee. And I thought I had a stupid name, Wee Wee. That's a good name. All right, anyways, he says that excessive fluoride can damage the immune organs, lead to immune cell dysfunction, interfere with the expression of immune chemicals, chemokines and all that stuff. Okay, so what's the point? Fluoride, it suppresses both parts of the adaptive immune system. So we have an innate immune system, like our barrier function, our macrophages, sentinel macrophages and whatnot, and then we have an adaptive immune system. The adaptive immune system is much more powerful, but it's much slower. And that includes cellular immunity with the T cells from the thymus, and it includes humoral immunity like the antibodies, and those come from the bone marrow cells, the B cells. Okay, so some of the things it says here, take a look at this. Excessive fluoride intake in water can induce immunosuppression. Okay, great. Damages the thymus like we were just talking about. It damages mitochondria. It's a mitochondrial toxin. It can lead to cells going into apoptosis, programmed cell death. It causes all kinds of problems. Endoplasmic reticulum stress, problems with proteins and activating the unfolded protein response. So what I'm trying to make the point here is it's a multifunctional poison, basically. It's a major toxin, okay? Leads to dysfunction of the thymus gland, that's T cell immunity, decreased numbers of T cells, T cell dysfunction. It also is damaging to the immune cells in the spleen. Spleen is the largest immune organ in the body, like 25% of your lymphoid tissues in the spleen. Causes a decline in humoral immune function. That's the antibody side of things, the B cell side of the immune system. Okay. Here's a picture summarizing the ways that it damages the immune system. Fluoride does. It increases oxidative stress. That's where our oxidants are present in greater numbers than the antioxidants. It causes inflammation. It actually causes leaky gut and gut inflammation as well. And once you've got gut inflammation and leaky gut, then you're going to have postprandial endotoxemia, where the gram-negative bacteria, their endotoxins like LPS, lipopolysaccharide, get into the blood. The gram-positive bacteria with their endotoxin, lipoteichoic acid, gets into the bowel wall, gets into the blood. Then they become prothrombotic, leading to increased atherosclerosis, which can potentially occlude arteries in your heart, microvascular angina, and even potentially be damaging to arteries in the brain. Not good. It can damage DNA. We know it's a mitochondrial toxin. There's a lot of different problems. It's a multifunctional slow poison. That's what it is. It's a freaking toxin. Okay, and here it gets worse. Like I said, it causes leaky gut. Well, anything that causes leaky gut is going to predispose you to autoimmune disease. So it also predisposes you to autoimmune disease. That's really bad. Okay, sources of fluoride in the water. It's put in the water, which is crazy. Theoretically a small benefit for topical, anti-cavity effect, but we absorb it into our bodies, and there's no purpose for it in our bodies, none, zero. And it can form complexes with Al that's also put into water as a so-called clarifying agent, but these complexes then will increase traversal of the blood-brain barrier by Al, and that's highly neurotoxic. It's in toothpaste, F minuses. It's in mouthwashes, F minuses. Very bad. They recommend you don't use it in toothpaste or mouthwash because it can wipe out the bacteria on the back of your tongue, and then you're not able to convert the plant nitrates into nitrites to go from NO3 to NO2, and then you can't go further down the pathway to convert the NO2s in your stomach to NO, nitric oxide, systemic nitric oxide vasodilator. Nathan Bryan talks about this. He's sort of like the world expert on nitric oxide, and him and Caldwell Esselstyn are buddies talking about ways to increase your systemic nitric oxide. You can also increase your systemic nitric oxide vasodilator by walking out in the sun, because you got precursors to systemic nitric oxide in your skin. That's why it feels so good when you first walk out in the sun. But again, you don't want this in your toothpaste or your mouthwash. Okay, it's in a lot of medications because it increases traversal of the blood-brain barrier, and that'll also increase traversal of the blood gonadal barrier into like the testes and the ovaries. Like, let's say some guy's got orchitis, infection of the testicles. They're going to put him on fluoroquinolone antibiotics. Okay, but that fluoroquinolone can also be toxic to his brain. It's in a lot of these psychiatric medicines to get them to cross the blood-brain barrier, like Prozac, and it's also called fluoxetine. And it's so toxic that it's now being recommended by some as a potential thing to use for chemotherapy. And I'm laughing because back in the 1980s and 90s, there was irrational exuberance thinking, oh, it's this wonderful magic drug. It's a freaking toxin. As a lot of SSRIs inhibit the intermitochondrial membrane. F minus can be very high in tea. There's also soy-containing beverages that will have a tendency to sometimes concentrate fluoride. Coal-burning electric plants put it into the environment as a pollutant. Oh, here's the article. Some soy beverages have a tendency to concentrate F minus. 30 samples of the most popular brands. The consumption of soy beverages contributes significantly to the daily intake of fluoride, and this could exceed the recommended levels. So another reason why soy is for chumps. Talking about the chemistry of it, it's a halogen. So the halogens in general are used to, to kill stuff, to sanitize stuff. Fluoride has the highest electronegativity of any element in the periodic table of elements, meaning that it has the strongest desire to grab electrons and to steal them, because it's short one electron in its outer orbital, and so it needs an electron to complete its octet and achieve its chemical stability. Okay, chloride used to sanitize drinking water, bromine used to sanitize pool water, chloride also for sanitizing pool water. Iodine used to be a prep antiseptic. Iodine is the only thing with a significant benefit here. Iodine is used, by our thyroid to make thyroid hormone. And chloride is, a normal thing in the human body in small amounts, but you don't want excessive amounts. Okay, F minus can inhibit thyroid uptake of iodine because they're both halogens, and it can cause hypothyroid, not good. That can cause lowered cognitive function, not good. Here's a picture of thyroid, the drawing of its orbitals, and it's lacking an electron. It's a free radical, has an unpaired electron in its outer orbital, and it makes it highly reactive. It wants to steal electrons from other places. It damages complex 4 on the intermitochondrial membrane and thus reduces mitochondrial production of ATP. We need ATP for energy, so it can decrease energy levels. It's toxic. It's toxic to the human brain. It also can substitute itself for hydrogen and disrupt these hydrogen bonds in here in this protein, which are part of maintaining a protein structure. So when these hydrogens are substituted out with fluoride, it'll distort the shape of the protein, and that can convert the protein into a PAMPS. PAMPS means pathogen-associated molecular pattern, PAMPS, pathogen-associated molecular patterns. And thus the distortion of the protein, if it's in the extracellular space where the immune system has access to seeing it, that can cause an autoimmune reaction. So this is a mechanism of causing autoimmune disease, distorting the shape of the protein. Okay, that's an important thing to know. Excessive oxidative stress, if it damages a protein in a spot where the immune system has access, extracellular matrix, for example, or in the blood, that can cause an autoimmune disease. So we're really talking about a lot of immune system problems. Not to mention that it distorts collagen. It prevents the formation of hydroxyproline, and so it'll disrupt collagen synthesis, because every third amino acid on a collagen is hydroxyproline. So that's a big problem, and that'll contribute to skeletal fluorosis. So here's a typical collagen, a triple helix, and you'll have a hydroxyproline every third residue, and fluoride's disrupting that. So it's going to weaken the ligaments of the spine. It also has a negative effect on the osteoclasts, and thus it can cause skeletal fluorosis, which is similar to the ischemic-related dish of the spine. And so, you get all these things working together, you're going to have a messed up spine. A lot of people have F minus. They got GP from the GMO non-organic soy. They're low in vitamin C from their lack of fruit intake, for example, fruits and vegetables. So all of these things will contribute to a decreased spine function. But anyways, the point I showed it was just the paper there indicating that it really is an immune suppressant, so it could decrease the body's ability to fight infections and could decrease the body's ability to fight cancer. Populations with F minus exposure are associated with increased risk of cancer. So anyways, I thought that paper on how it suppresses the immune system was sort of interesting. That's why I made the video.